for running that shop for him. And later on, that showed up, and I ended up going to jail behind it. Crazy story.
That's another story.
That's blue law is what they called it. But anyway, so I run shop for him, man. And remember, I told you I had already start working on this project.
Right.
All of a sudden, my investors in this project. Now I've already, found the spot in Greenspoint Mall. I've already done the lease on the spot in the Greenspoint Mall. I have electricians in there working. I got plumbers in there working. I have the stations being built out. Everything, getting ready to go into this mall. All of a sudden, the market crashed. And my investors that I have, all of a sudden the money that they had to pour into my vision, they don't have anymore.
Wow.
And the remaining cash that I took this other leap of faith on is all I got now. This is all I have. Like I pulled everything. This is the last of the haircut money.
Right.
And so I'm already using mine in good faith to show them that, hey, this is what I'm bringing to the table. You're gonna ask for somebody to do something
that you ain't gonna do for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You're willing to do something for yourself. So I've already put so much money in this project, right? Everybody's in here working. Now all of a sudden I'm faced with, I can't pay these guys anymore. And I can't pay them, nor can I raise the capital to get it done.
So what you did?
I lost everything.
Dang.
I lost everything.
Lost everything.
Lost everything. And I humbly went back to the shop that I had not left. But what I did do is I had already told him what I was doing. And I told him that, we operated with in a little bit different honor system.
Your generation.
My generation. We operated in a different honor system. So when you were gonna leave the shop, you went to the guy that, owned the shop. You let him know that, hey, I'm gonna be leaving. But then this is what you would do. You wouldn't take any more walk-ins. You would only cut your people. You would only cut your people. You wouldn't take any more walk-ins, showing him respect. For, your transition.
Right.
And you operated and you fulfill whatever it is that you said. If you said that you were gonna be, there for another week or two or whatever the case was, that's what you did.
Right.
You honored that. And so because I handled it that way, it left the door still open for me to come back, though my plan had failed. And I had to come back, and we talked about it, and I told him what had happened to me, and and it hurt. Man, it hurt really, really bad. Real bad. And one of the ladies that I was doing work for on the side, because before I had my school, I was actually, because I was an educator for Andes, so I was actually going into other schools doing presentations on behalf of Andes, but also teaching myself how to become an educator at the same time. That was my platform. I used me being an educator for them
to help
me learn how to deliver.
Later down the line.
Later down the line, that's how the whole educational piece became a lot more confident. I became a lot more confident in using that and doing it.
Because you had put in the work.
Because I already put in the work.
Being an instructor for Andy.
And I was doing it for free.
See, it take a lot to do that.
I was doing it for free.
Do that for free. A lot of people nowadays, they want to do everything for some money.
Yeah.
So the fact that you did it for free, that showed your faithfulness, showed that you really cared about your craft, that you really wanted it just for yourself.
Right. So check this out. So I'm doing that for free, right? And one of the ladies at the school that I was teaching at, she kept calling me, telling me about a shop that was opening up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why is she calling me and telling me about the shop that's opening up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want it. But what I really was dealing with was the fear
Of failing again.
Because I had already hit that ceiling twice.
Yeah.
And that fear of failing again is what I didn't want to deal with. And even for me to get out of the situation that I was in with all the people that was there working at the time, I had to go to each one of those people and tell them like, hey, listen, I can't pay you guys anymore. This is a situation. But if you will halt everything you're doing and just come to this shop that I'm about to open up, that I'm trying to open up, and just do a little work in here, just do a little bit of work for me, I will then open this shop up, get it going, and then I'll pay you back your money. I'll pay you back your money. And each one of them, they did. The plumber came over, he did a little work. Carpenter came over, he did a little work. Electrician came over, he did a little work. Hakeem had built my stations. I told Hakeem, just give me 2 stations. I said, and I'm gonna work and I'll pay for those 2. And then bring me another one. And every time I would work, accumulate some money, pay for another station. Eventually I had 10 stations in there that he had brought over.
Wow.
So once we got it open, I was able to just get everybody paid back, and we were good. We were good.
But go back, how did you even get to the spot of even opening up the spot? Because I think I know this is the spot kind of where you're at now. How do you even get to that point of even opening up the spot? Because I know a little bit of the story, but I want you to tell the people how you even got to the spot of even opening up the first shop, then moving down the line, and you open up the school next door.
You want to talk about Miss Vu, huh?
Miss Vu. Talk about Miss Vu.
You want to talk about Miss Vu? Okay. I think we got 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, we got a little time.
Okay, I think you want to talk about Miss Vu.
Yeah, give me
Let me tell you this. Nobody knows this story, bro. So this will be the first time I tell y'all the story about failure and how I view failure. I was afraid to fail again. I was absolutely afraid to fail again because I hit that wall so many times. And so when the opportunity was presented to me, to open up another shop, I was like, no, man, I don't want it.
All right.
This is when the other one had failed. I was like, nah, I don't want it. The lady kept coming back. She was like, you can do it, man. I was like, I don't even want to look at it, you know? She didn't know what had happened. Only I knew. So one day she keeps coming back, she's persistent. So I say, okay, look, I'll go meet the lady and see what's going on here. I go over, it's a shop that's going out of business. They asked me if I'd be willing to take it over. And I was like, I can look at it and was like, no, I can see why it's going out of business. Like, I can look at it and the way it was set up, how many chairs was in there, the overhead, it was easy. I was like, nah, this is why. So the lady that owned the entire strip center wanted to talk to me.
Wow.
And I was like, why? Like,
why you want to talk to little old me?
I was like, why? So she takes me down to this beauty supply store, which whoever owned the barber shop owned the beauty supply store. So she walks me down to the beauty supply store. We sitting in this beauty supply store. Her name is Miss Vu. And her English wasn't really strong. So you had to pay attention to what she was saying to really understand what she was saying. So in our conversation, she began to talk to me. And I told her a little bit about myself. And she says, she sits back, she says, you know, John? I was like, John who? She was like, John McCartney. I say, you mean John McCormick that owns Visible Changes?
Right.
She was like, yeah. I said, I don't know him, but I read his book. And in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, I read his book. He opened his first shop in Greensport Mall. I modeled myself behind him and I failed. You know, and that was the whole deal. So I didn't put that part in there. But yeah, so I modeled myself behind him when I was trying to go into Greensport because they were no longer in there. And so that story was really impactful to me on how they, in the book, how that all came. That was their very first one, how it all started. And so I told her, I was like, yeah, I read the book. She said, you read book? I said, yeah, I read the book. She says, you read book? I was like, I read the book. She was like, I boo. I was like, you boo in the book? She was like, I boo in book. I was like, no way. I sat up because I knew her whole story. I had read the book. So I knew her whole story. I knew who she was. And I was like, wow. And you own this strip center. So she looks at me. I'm telling you, Jay, this was when I was so broken and I was running from that situation because I was afraid to do it again. She looks at me and she says, you have what it takes. And man, everything in me, I was trying not to break down and just lose it. But she just kept saying, like, you have what it takes. And so I said, okay, what are you saying? She looks right back at me and she says, I do for you. I was like,
what that mean?
I was like, exactly, that's what I said. You know what we talking about.
What that mean?
What that mean, you do for me, right?
Right.
And so she says, now you gotta remember, this was back a few years ago now. She says, you know, 60 Hearts, and we own 1960, right? So I'm thinking she's saying,
the Hearts
Chicken on 1960, right? And so I was like, yeah, I know the Hearts Chicken on 1960. I'm thinking, why she asking me about Hearts Chicken? I mean, we talking about Hearts Chicken, like we in a business deal.
Yeah, we
like,
talking about the shop.
Yeah, we talking about Hearts Chicken. Hey, man, you just said, I do for you, you know? And so I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute. So she says, I own 60 Hearts Chickens, is what she was telling me.
She owns 60 of them.
60. I'm sitting here going, oh, I thought you were saying that. You know,
talking about the Hearts Chicken on 1960. No,
you own 60 Hearts Chickens, right?
All right.
And I was like, oh my God, like that's a lot of chicken places. You know? But then, and so I was like, okay. So she says, you come by my office, which was the Hearts corporate office on that Veterans Memorial, where veterans and students. And so I go to her office. She basically tells me, like, how much is it gonna cost to get this done? She asked me, how much is it gonna cost to get this done? And I told her. She immediately wrote me a check right on the spot. Told me to go. She said, okay, you go. You go. I said, wait a minute, is this real? Like, is this really happening? To this very day, I took a picture of that check. And I keep that to remind me, like, of that shift in who God sent that I would have never imagined at that time in my life that somebody that looks nothing like me, that
seen something in you,
saw something in me,
right?
That she was willing to invest in, that didn't know me.
Past all your failures that you had.
Past all my failures that I had recently had.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. That was willing to take that type of opportunity with me and for me. And it was just an amazing opportunity, man. And I've never told that story before, but thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about it.
Of course.
Thank you.